My second question, and I have to go to my computer to change, is what are the key skills that are required for professional in data science in pharma, and how can company ensure they attract and also train and retain talent within the company?
So that's a fantastic question. I would say that to do data science in pharma, you need to be a unicorn almost to a certain extent. You need to know data science, you need to know AI algorithms, you need to know how you can conduct good, rigorous training and validation of your models and analyses, but you also need to know the life sciences. You can't be successful in this space if you just go up to a clinical bench scientist or a biologist or a physician and start talking analytics, algorithms, data. It doesn't compute. The most successful folks are those who can merge the different disciplines together. And that's not something that's easily taught. You're starting to see interdisciplinary programs come up where they teach the language across these multiple disciplines, but you really need to enable people to build on their strengths and leverage their competencies across multiple different functional areas. You need to enable them to grow in their career. Everybody wants something different. Some people want to grow technically, other folks want to grow in terms of leadership experience, some folks want to increase public speaking, and good talent needs the resources, the space, the runway to develop their career in all those areas. We're also seeing a lot of folks move in from adjacent areas, such as biostatistics or clinical data management, or other aspects of the pharmaceutical spectrum into the AI and data science space. And we need to make space for all of those folks. Particularly as people advance in their career, one of the is, what can I do? I'd like to impact drug discovery at a larger stage, right? So maybe somebody starts out as a data scientist, then starts to lead a global product team for a new clinical trial team. So there's a lot of opportunities, and it's important to recognize there's no one track. I don't think there's any one successful path. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely, I completely agree with you, Faisal. And if just a fun fact, I hope I had some of that because Faisal hired me in AstraZeneca 6 years ago. Faisal was my boss at AstraZeneca. So my take on talent is that, you know, the one of the key skill, like Faisal mentioned, it need a multidisciplinary thinking, multidisciplinary approach, but communication skills. If we can train on technology, we can teach biology courses, but is this person interested in taking this whole construct of ideas and communicate with the stakeholders, whether the stakeholder is a scientist or a fellow software engineer or another data scientist. So is he or she interested in communicating that? So that's my take on it, but I would love to hear from Lamia.
Yes, I would. I cannot agree more with what was Dr. Shamir mentioned. It's the soft skill. The talent, as Dr. Faisal mentioned, we have to encourage it by the technology. But one of the important things for me, as Dr. Shamir mentioned, is how we encourage people, how we give them the push. I mean, in my life, I change a lot, and I have this passion to work, study very hard. So one of my goals to always, when I see anyone who have this passion, talent, to push them and tell them there is a chance, there is a hope, so just continue doing what you're doing. And I agree, we have a talent here in Saudi Arabia, so we have to go and push it, go and study abroad, see the whole. Now we have online courses, so online can be very useful in these days. So I agree with you, talented, it should be pushed socially.
Yeah, thank you. I think to summarize, it's important to have diversity in the knowledge, technical, and also diversity in the background. And one important things for growing the team is really to give them the opportunity to grow. And one of the opportunity to grow is really give them the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from their mistakes and get out from their comfort zone and learn new things, because we're in an area where things change every now and then and very rapidly, and you have to have this adaptability mindset to be able to evolve in the environment. Again, another walk to the next question. Again, I think it's an unexpected question. Everyone talk about Gen AI. So how you see Gen AI application in the pharma sector compared to what we see nowadays in the general application?
So I think that's a fantastic question. Everybody these days is talking about Gen AI, right? And one of the things I always say is, AI does not equal Gen AI. Gen AI is a subset of AI, and I think that's important to recognize because people get those two concepts mixed together. You can separate applications into two different categories. One is those that don't need clinical regulation and probably overlap with what many other folks are already doing with large language models. Text summarization, document generation, those types of things. Once you start to get into some of the more interesting aspects, they're going to need scientific regulation. But that can include drug synthesis and drug design, clinical trial simulation with virtual twins and synthetic patients and synthetic control arms. Those applications start to get really interesting, but they will need clinical regulatory perspectives and they'll take longer. So you're starting to see people go after the low-level fruit where you don't need a lot of regulatory perspectives. And then the other stuff, at least in this space, as we said in the first question, one of the things that differentiates pharmaceutical AI from others is the regulatory piece. That will take a little while longer.
Yeah, definitely. You know what Faisal is sharing, that we do have due to some public perception that generative AI is sort of the golden egg in AI, but there are other equally powerful or more important technologies that are out there. And then, especially when you come to pharmaceutical application of AI, generative AI could play a role. Like I was telling you that if you're interested in developing a drug against a disease, you have to identify a target, and that target is typically, give or take, 60 to 70% of the time, it's a gene, it's a region in your genome, it's a portion in your DNA that actually convert into something called an RNA, and that converts into a protein, and you do basically target that protein. So protein is, we have some measurements, and then we say maybe give or take 50,000 proteins. But if you are to target RNA, we're talking about different types of numbers. And if you are to go with other families of RNA, you're talking about millions of numbers. And we haven't actually characterized all of this. So can we use algorithms like generative AI to kind of generate the sequences, model them, and then try to see, are we missing biology between the layers that we read? So we could really use the existing technology, couple it with generative AI, and then learn new biology that we don't know at this point, which is something really fascinating that when I think about it, and I definitely agree with everything that Faisal said as well. And
yes, definitely. As I mentioned, my computer background helped me to look for the drug from different perspective. AlphaFold, one of the applications that help us to structure the protein. Structuring protein was taking long time. But with application like AlphaFold, generative AI, we can find a protein in a much faster time. We have the protein, then we have another technology like that can find the drug target very quickly. So all of these will help us to build protein structure from what they call it, finding the protein structure from AlphaFold, and finding the drug target in a much faster time, finding the correct molecular for this binding. All of these techniques help us to move forward and have the drug in faster way. So all of this can come only because why? Because we have a lot of data in the past. So generative AI is not just born today. It's since 1950 when Alan Paton he found that the computer can think like a machine. So since 1950 until now, we have a lot of data. That's why we can see the advance in the AI, and we think it's just started today. No, it started more than 70 years back. But now it's the powerful for AI, the data that we have, number one, and the GPU that we have. So now we are working to advance the pharma, the drug discovery, the healthcare, by utilizing these two things, the computer, the information, the hardware.